So you might have some face this way, but usually not too bad.
No, it's pretty good.
All right. So today's guests are the owners of MVP Performance. Michael.
Best.
Tanner. So, Michael, tell the people what you drive.
This is one of my cars here. I guess one of the fleet, if you will, is my 2003 Evo 8. Currently being rebuilt again for the third time. I have a bad habit of blowing these things up or getting rid of the motors, I should say.
DSM life.
Yep, pretty much. It's not a incorrect misconception to have of Evos like to live on jack stands. I could say with certainty that I think out of the 5 years I've owned this car now, I think about 3.5 of those years it's been on jack stands or in the garage.
Yeah, I think the last time it was out, you stopped over, and we were supposed to race.
Yeah, we're supposed to race, and I was doing some. I was tuning it.
Yeah,
I was doing some logs and stuff, and then all of a sudden, pull up to his house. Like, all right, I'm ready to race. And all of a sudden, there's coolant all over the flolar. I'm like, oh, is that from your
on my
place?
fresh concrete
Right.
driveway?
Like, is that yours? And he's like, no, that's from your car. And ended up finding out that 45 psi on FP Black, it wasn't happy, and it popped a freeze plug out of the turbo. So, anyways, it sat for a year while I was doing other things. I was starting to, trying to progress the business and everything. So, ended up selling that motor, and then finally decided to order another motor, get it going, and that's been a fiasco in itself with, trying to get that situation. But hopefully this year, or at least beginning of next year, it'll be back up and running, and see if I decide
I'm
to keep
hoping
it
for
or
this
not.
year
Hoping.
because we need that rematch.
Yeah. we haven't ran against each other since, let's say,
Since my car's been boosted,
yeah.
we haven't ran it.
We ran a lot when I had the silver Evo.
Yeah.
But not this one too much.
Yeah. What about you, Tanner? Tell the people about yourself.
Well, this is my R32 GTR, engineless. It's currently getting built we're currently building a custom wiring harness for Haltech R3 and new dash. There's 0 factory wiring left in the car, so it's pretty much ground up that we're building it, and hopefully it'll start up for the first time this year. It's the goal. See what happens.
Yeah, I hope
But
both of you guys get them going this year.
yeah,
They've both been down for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's the goal. It's been down I drove it for all of 3 weeks or 6 weeks, something like that, after buying it, just to take it apart for fun, and it's snowballed into this. So,
Snowballed into non-running.
yep, it all started from a brake fluid leak, and now it's no motor, no trans, no factory wiring.
Yeah.
So,
It's crazy how shit snowballs like that.
yeah, I don't have very good self-control. I just kind of take it apart.
Yeah.
So,
Pressure leaking. Whole car's got to get redone.
yeah, I got to redo the
Whole
whole
shit.
thing 'cause it's leaking. I don't know.
I think it harkens back to like when you're a kid and just take it apart and want to see how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exactly how
Exactly.
it was, because this car is very different from all the stuff we have here. I like all the old 90s tech, everything they did. So I started taking it apart.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of people around our age seem like the 90s vehicles are where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
I think a lot of that comes down to too is you get that raw adrenaline feeling from those cars because there wasn't a lot of safety standards. I mean, there were safety standards, but compared to today, you have a lightweight car with minimal structural supports, and when you go fast, it feels dangerous and it feels fun. Versus, you get some of these newer cars, especially say like a CTSV, just fat and stable. You can go 120 and look down at your phone and probably not feel too bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Do that one of these.
It's like the Mustang. It seems like 3,800 pounds is like base car weight you start with now instead of 32.
Yeah, because what's the weight going to be on your car again?
This is probably going to weigh sub 3,000 pounds without me in it once it's all done. I mean, we pulled 150 pounds of factory wiring out of the thing. We're putting less than half of that back in.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's definitely less than half because we're going all like mil spec wiring, Tefcel M227/32, I think it is. I could be messing that up, but I mean,
numbers.
the difference in wire size is, I mean, it's almost half the size.
Yeah, people don't realize how much wiring weighs in a car.
Oh, yeah.
You can gut your back seats and your passenger seat, and it's like, oh, wow, there's 75 pounds, but you really got a tin can.
Weight is a huge thing. I mean, if you recall, when we used to race all the time, I'd always try to get it to where it was just at a quarter tank.
Yeah.
Get a few runs and like, all right,
I gotta go get an 85, which is 30 miles away. Yeah. Every time we'd go down to Madison.
So weight is a huge factor.
It kind of is, which is weird because I would always add weight to my car. Like race weight for mine was like almost 3,600 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's like, when you're making 600 wheel traction.
See, I take everything I get because every time I drive my car, I'm adding 250 pounds of ballast. So, I mean, I'm not a race jockey by any means.
Yeah.
So every time I get in there, I think I'm adding weight. So it's not like this guy where you can weigh 100 pounds sopping wet and be fine. I think he was made to be basically a horse jockey.
Yeah. Yep.
So
get him in there.
Yeah.
I built the car, but you're driving it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you see that actually a lot in the racing industry is you do, if you got people like me who I like building it and I like racing it, but if I really want to nickel and dime that quarter mile, it's like, hey, got him to hop in if I really needed to.
Seems like there's a lot of that like in street racing too. Or like somebody will have a shop build them a car and then like the shop owner races it for them.
Yeah. Because I think people, a lot of times people do that too, is they don't realize how scary the car is going to be. They got all these dreams and aspirations of what they want their car to be.
Yeah.
For example, we've had a couple of Evo 10s here, tune them up, and they're like, whoa, it's a little more expected. And you're like, well, it's what you asked for. But if you're not ready for that, that's why I always suggest baby steps. You know what I mean? Because then you can get accustomed to your car, get used to it, and then you're going to get the power bug. You're going to want more. So let's take it in little steps. But there's some people who just want to go gung-ho right away. And then they get scared of the car, and then next thing you know, it's either for sale or it doesn't get driven. So
yeah, everybody thinks they want that 1,000 horsepower right off the rip.
You don't realize what comes with 1,000 horsepower either.
Yeah, the maintenance of the vehicle alone. It's like you can't just hop in it, drive it to work, drive back. Especially
a cruiser. Makes it not really a cruiser anymore. The clutch sucks, the suspension sucks, the power is up at 6,000 RPM. It's not down low. It sucks in town.
Yeah.
So
that most people take out the AC, power steering. God damn.
Yep. That's what I did. No AC, no heater core, no nothing. There's no windshield wipers on the damn thing anymore.
Jeez.
So
the motor's gone, the wiper blades are gone.
Yep. Everything it was damn near a shell about a month ago.
So then what is your goal with the car? Like if you're gutting it like that, is it to like keep it clean?
Partially that. I don't really care so much about the looks. Like I beat the shit out of the exterior of my cars. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's more of just these things didn't work. I don't need them. I just want to go fast. So I don't really care.
So you just want to do the straight line stuff?
Pretty much straight line. I want to get back on the street and play on the street some more.
Yeah.
It's something that no one around here has ever raced.
Yeah.
So,
you don't see any of these out here doing poles.
Nope. And I mean, even years ago, there was only 2 Evo 8s that came out and played on the street. There was him and Matt B. So Evos and GTRs, they're very few and far between on the street. So.
So mainly roll, I'm assuming?
That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
It'll be nicer on this less than great gearbox. So transmissions are not amazing. They'll hold the power similar to Evos if you don't fuck up. But we'll see how it goes. I got to launch it, figure out how to launch these cars, that kind of stuff. So
I mean, that's something too, is we don't have, I have experience doing a lot of tuning the Evo, engines and stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of traction control mapping and launch control maps, I wouldn't say I have a lot of experience with that. So that's what we're going to do a lot with this too, is start figuring out
the test mule.
Yeah. So it's going to be, because that's how I got into tuning, right? Is, I spent a couple of years learning before I ever even decided to even try. I don't want to be one of those tuners that learns on customers' cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they learn as they go, and you kind of leave a bread trail of crumbs behind you of like, hey, this guy did a shit job here.
Yeah. He blew up my car. Don't go to him.
And thankfully I've never blown up a customer's car. And we had one issue where a customer had a bad turbo seal and it looked bad on us and everything. But I spent 2 years learning before, and then I got it my own car to practice tuning on,
Mhm.
and I'd rather practice on our own stuff rather than, and thousands of dollars of tuning courses later. I think we're going to start trying to really practice our own traction control, launch maps, flex fuel. Flex fuel is a little easier on a Haul Tech, say, but instead of
Traction
working with the
control
stock,
pretty.
yeah. I mean, there's
pretty good.
with an aftermarket EC2, I mean, the limits are basically what you can design as a map with your own tables and stuff. I mean, it's not going to be as flexible, say, as a Motec where you have custom firmware, but at least with the Haul Tech on these, with custom built-in PD or the built-in PDM and everything, I mean, pretty much for a street car, the sky's the limit. You're not going to see anything else out there, locally at least, that's going to have all the safety features he's going to have, all the customization he wants. It's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. And at the end of the day, he's always going to be able to drive home, whether that's, at his high horsepower level, medium horsepower level,
on kill all day.
All the time, so.
All day. You never know when a Camry wants to pull up on you.
So, I'm excited.
Ultima, when you see him freaking sweeping through traffic.
Oh yeah.
So then, what's your goal for horsepower then?
For me, 4 figures at least, but just not on the factory motor. Obviously, RBs have a history. The factory blocks have a lot of inconsistencies. They can have a lot of problems. So I'd like to either go up to an RB30 or PRP, one of the Australian companies that's really big into these cars. They are similar to Dart, remade to 2J. They're remaking the RBs and removing a ton of their imperfections and flaws. So I'd like to go that route if I can. But that's all in the future. Those motors aren't even available yet. So it's all hearsay at the moment. Just trying to get it running and driving on my stock motor and build from there. Once it's running and driving, that's all. Like,
back to those baby steps.
The Haltech and all the wiring, that's the hard part. In reality, once you start going with the motor, at least in my mind, that's easy. Because I don't understand electrical. I understand mechanical. So once that's done and it's driving, that's when the hard part's over for me. Now it's just
work your way up.
Build it to what I want it to be. So
you're going to do it in stages. You're going to start off 450, 500, play with it, and then slowly jump up like that? Or are you just going to get it going and then balls deep?
We'll see. It all kind of depends. Because with the motor I'm on right now, it'll probably, I don't think those little turbos, those little 90s turbos can make more than 450. So after that, I'm not going to go like a 58 or anything. It's going to be jumping straight into 60, 70 mil turbos. So at that point, my stock motor can't hold it. They won't be able to hold more than like 7 pounds of boost. On a 68, 70, it probably can't hold more than 7, 8 pounds of boost. So at that point,
baby boost.
Just straight on the wastegate.
Baby boost.
I mean, it is with most motors is, low end torque kills a lot of motors. So, I mean, with the bigger turbo, he might be able to squeeze it just a hair more horse. Because I'm going to push that boost threshold a little later. The high end torque isn't going to be as, damaging. So I think that's what he was saying is, pushing that big turbo, he's going to only do so much, but he might be able to get a little bit. I mean, that's going to all come down to, time frames of built motors, stuff like that. Again, like I said, baby steps. It's
like the new Supras. It's like their torque is what kills it.
And that's
and they make globs of torque.
Because I mean, and that's kind of the common misconception you see with a lot of companies out there or stages or whatever. Say, it's this rated this at much horsepower. You get a customer in here like, hey, I want my Evo to make 400 horse. Okay, well, what turbo? What there's a lot of
the details.
Saying horsepower is a number that most people understand. But in terms of engines, in terms of rotating assemblies and stuff, you got to look at it in terms of more of torque because that's the mechanical load actually putting on the rods and pistons. So it's like, okay, well, this customer can make 400 on this Evo on a 6266, but if you want to make say 500 on a stock frame turbo, it's going to be a little harder. You're not going to be able to push as hard because that low end torque is probably going to grenade, your internals versus this guy over here. He's not going to have as much fun on the street as you because, his boost is going to be a lot further, but it's going to be a little bit safer. He can make a little more horse. So it's a lot of gives and takes. And I think what he has in plan for a 68, whether it's going to be a 60, 70 mil turbo, I think it's going to save him a lot of headaches in the future. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think with the inline six, you know, I'm not familiar with, I guess, a lot of boost graphs of the RBs to know exactly where his boost threshold's going to be, but I think it'll still be fun with the 6-cylinder versus being stuck with only 4 cylinders.
Yeah. So then what's your goals with yours?
So what?
What's your goal with your car then?
That's an interesting question because you know, a year ago I would have told you my goal was, you know, try to get around 1100 horse on kill, you know, and definitely driving around 800 most of the time. And you know, I had hired a shop to do my motor, and with certain goals, you know, 80 thou thick fire rings, 1/2-inch head studs, half fill motor, billet crank, and then went through a little bit of a situation, I would say, with that shop, with time frames and miscommunications, and you know, eventually ended up just getting sick of it and the lack of communication with it. I was like, all right, you know what, I cancel my build. I was like, you know, just give me my stuff back. And I think with all that, I just got sick of even wanting the car,
the hassle of it. Yeah,
because it's been
to a point where it's just like
half or 2 years. Yeah,
I
at
hear
least
ya.
since it's been running. So at that point, I was just kind of like, I don't even know what I want to do with this anymore. I got my eyes set on a different platform in terms of horsepower, and you know, if I can detune this and keep it and enjoy it, maybe I'll keep it around. But 1100 definitely isn't the goal anymore.
You might as well keep it around. I mean,
I would like to. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff aesthetically to this thing, and you know, I'm pretty much going to get it to the way I want it to look. It's just a matter of, is it going to be streetable? You know, it all comes down to the shop that has the motor now, what they can do for me in terms of detuning the motor, because it's already been machined. It's already been cut for firings. And is it going to be savable? Is it, you know, it's already half filled. How's that going to react on the street? Is it going to overheat? You know?
Yeah. All those things now you got to think about.
There's a lot of factors, you know, and that's kind of, you know, detracts from any kind of plans for the future with this thing, because I got to figure out how it's going to behave before I even look at another platform. You know, because I don't want to hop in another platform that really takes away from how much I can throw money at this and change it to the way I wanted it to be on the street.
You gonna change that clutch?
I would say what you just said kind of nailed the reason why I don't drive this car as much as I do.
Yeah,
I do have a Quartermaster twin on it, and it's, you know, the race discs, if you want to call it that, and going up my driveway or being in traffic is probably one of the
leaving
most
the stop sign.
Yes, leaving stop signs, and it's doable. It's definitely streetable, but is definitely not my preferred clutch to enjoy. Yeah, just driving it, because, like, you know, there's been times where I go to a car show. You know, we have some of the big car shows, WCC around here, and just that stop go, stop go, stop go. By the time I start pulling in, my clutch is smoking, and I've toasted it. And you know, I want to be able to just hop in a car, take it to the grocery store, and enjoy it and show off. You know, you know, and I think
quick.
It's funny because he has a sticker on his wing that says attention horn, but he is complete opposite of that. Whereas he doesn't like attention. He doesn't like, well, me, dude, I love it.
Deep down inside, Tanner likes it. Right. That's why he bought this thing. So it's bright purple.
Yeah.
I bought it because I love it.
Yeah.
But no, I could live without the attention. I'll go without the attention. I have people follow me in this car the few weeks I was driving it, and I don't want it. Go away. I just love the car. I love the motor. Go away.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
See, and I'm kind of the opposite, where, you know, I like it. You know, I like getting recognized for the work I put into my car.
Yeah,
you know,
true that.
And breaking necks as I drive around and stuff. So it would be nice to keep it, but I think that clutch is, if I keep it, I think the clutch is going to have to get changed out. Because I think in the 5 years I've owned it, I've put maybe 3,000 miles on the car. That's it. Because it's not something.
Nothing.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it only has 66,000 miles on it. I got it with 64,000 miles.
Jeez.
So, it's. I mean, when we have a shallow entry to our shop like this, it's not so bad. But
it's my pretty much level with the parking lot.
Yeah, my house is kind of got a V-shaped entry, and trying to get up there, and then you're kind of stuck in an in between where you got to give it gas or stall it out. And
and then it sounds like you don't know how to drive it because you got to run it up real high. Yeah. My clutch is starting to get like that. I want to get rid of mine.
Yeah.
Freaking RXT.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of my clutch either. This thing's got an Exetti ceramic twin. Not sure why the previous owner put it in there. It's not making the power to require that. It's an on-off switch, just like his Quartermaster. It is a drag racing clutch, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It'll hold power, and it is terrible to drive.
Yeah, it's only good at watt.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty
when
much.
you're going watt, then it's fine. But
Yep. Anything in town, because like I absolutely love to drive my car. I've put damn near as many miles on this because I was dailying it when I bought it.
yeah,
I put damn near as many miles on this car in the 6-ish weeks I was driving it as he did in the 5 years he's owned his Evo.
He's not wrong.
Like, I drive the shit out of my car. I was taking it to school. I was taking it to work. I was taking it grocery shopping. Like, I love to drive my car, and this clutch is not good for that at all.
well, once you hop on the highway, it is what it is.
Oh, it's great. Once you're actually going and you aren't just leaving stoplights and whatnot, it's a great clutch. It holds the power. It's great. Not that this thing made any power compared to what we all enjoy.
Yeah,
but
true that.
yeah, it's not fun having a shit clutch.
So why don't you tell the people a little more about yourself, like your background?
Okay, so myself, I mean, if we really want to get into the nitty gritty and the details. So originally I'm from California. Back then I was just kind of a snot-nosed kid. I book smart, not really street smart. Didn't really know what I was doing in my life, and
Like most
getting in
kids.
trouble and stuff. And ended up meeting a girl online. And I was kind of against online dating at the time. I thought it was kind of stupid. I mean, and this was 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And things have definitely changed. But
It's not all
long
about
story
banging.
short,
So it's not all about banging.
right. And that's my problem back in the day. That's what it was for me. And anyways, my life was kind of in shambles, a wreck. Homeless, couch surfing, stuff like that. And met this girl online. She came and visited, and the next thing I know, I came and visited for a month. Decided, the opportunities here are a lot easier. In California, I'm working 4 jobs just to make ends meet, to live on people's couches.
Jeez.
And try to afford even used cars from tow yards and stuff. So coming here and seeing the opportunities that people have here in terms of debt to income ratios, it's really
It's way
great.
cheaper.
Yes, and so got here right away, hit a $22 an hour job. I mean, that blew my mind. From California, everything's retail, so everything pays $8 an hour, and coming here and making almost 3 times that, it was mind opening. And then at the time when I first moved here, I didn't know a lot. I knew a lot about cars. I raced a lot and stuff, but you asked me to change out an alternator, maybe I could have got it done. Anything more than that, I don't know if I could have done it. And coming here, the car community, it's a lot more saturated, I should say. There's a lot of people here that work on cars and race cars. So, so I was hanging out with the shop in Waupun, and next thing you know, I bought another DSM, the 7 I've owned now. Just got in my elbows in there and just started working on it, tearing apart, putting, actually having the time and resources to do it now.
Yeah.
And next thing you know,
Getting all hands on and everything.
And it really took off, and realized it's a lot easier than I expected, to work on cars, and all self-taught. And over time, I was like, let's get into tuning. I met this guy, and that was when I had probably one of my first Evo. That was probably when I had my first Evo.
It was not long after you bought it.
Yeah.
What year was that? Just give people a time frame.
2016.
Yeah, probably around 20.
Was it 2016?
Maybe.
It was 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
So I was out of my first round of college.
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty young. So I was 2016.
I think I had my Mach 1 at that time.
Yeah.
And you had your silver Evo,
Yeah, I never got to see the Mach 1. After that, the first time I met you, you had the Speed 3 and a fucked up foot. Like that's when I first met you.
Yeah. Well,
So-
the Mach 1 stayed in the garage because I couldn't drive it. And I had to drive the Speed 3 with my crutch.
Yep.
Had to use the crutch for the
using
clutch.
the crutch for it.
Yeah.
So, it's been nearly about 8 years now. So
Yeah, it's been a hot
And
minute.
it just ended up being things. We had a mutual friend, and then we hit it off really well. And I was like, hey, let's come over, hang out. And then I'd just hang out with him. And I was kind of like, let's rip my Evo apart. Let's just, same thing with him. I'm getting this cars. I think as a car owner, you always just want to see like what all there is there to this car. And so we ripped apart the interior in his garage and like just see what's in there, and then one thing to let another. It's like,
tinkering.
Yeah. And then, at the time I was in an apartment, so I would, you weren't supposed to work on the cars in the apartment, but it'd be ripped apart in my parking lot. Next thing you know, hey, there's a car meeting. I run out there, throw the car back together in the parking lot and go out and that was my garage at the time. And then things have changed now where, I ended up getting a house, and, was seeing the large garage that my house came with. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, you definitely got lucky with that.
Yeah.
You got lucky with that.
So at that point, I was like, I have space here for vehicles. Let's start taking some customers. And so that's when I started getting into tuning and stuff. And obviously he's the main mechanic guy around here.
Mhm.
And ever since he's been around more, I've kind of leaned on him more and more and more for the mechanical stuff, because he's basically, genius at looking at that stuff. He could see something, right away, like, oh, it's got to go here and rip it apart and look at the bolts. 3 weeks later, like, oh, that one goes there. And
no labeling, no nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't label, and it drives. We fight about that a lot.
Autism.
Yeah, touch the tism.
Yeah.
So and I'm the complete opposite, where before I got all the labeler and the baggies and stuff, I'd write on a cardboard, punch the bolt through the cardboard.
Put it in. Yeah.
I'm very methodical about the way I do things, but he's so much faster at it, because he doesn't have to go through the organization. And
Yep.
So and then after that, I was like, let's change it. A couple years later, working on his garage, my garage, I decided to change the business into an LLC and include him as part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically share half of everything with him. And since then, it's blown up. I didn't expect to do it. It's just supposed to be something for fun. But
yeah, you definitely outgrew your garage pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. I think at the one point we had like basically 6 cars laying around for customers. And it's like, okay, this is too much for us. We got to start finding a shop.
Yeah.
And
so I used to see them from my driveway.
Yeah.
Walk down the street.
Yeah. You had Evils lining up my house and outside. And it just didn't look as professional as I wanted either.
Mm-hmm.
You have customers show up like, this is your house? Like, this is just a fun thing. But, I started wanting to look a little bit more professional. I started wanting to, start delving into the finer aspects of having a business that was related to it. So we started looking around for a shop, and we had some friends, part of the Eminence crew, Isaac Vang and all them, basically approached them like, hey, how about we work out some kind of arrangement where we like sponsor you guys with, some of the sponsorship pricing on parts and stuff like that. And that worked out very well for a while. So we moved in, and it's basically on the same property. It's another garage over there. That worked out well for a while because we gained some extra spaces, but we all grew that pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
So
you guys were all sharing it. What was like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 cars there?
Yeah, it's room for 6. It's like a 40 by 50.
Yeah.
But when you're sharing it with 5 other people, and we did our best to not step on any toes or leave stuff lying around, but we could definitely tell where our space was because there's tools all over right there, and there's cars torn apart right there, and it almost felt like we were encroaching on their space a little bit because they do it for their show cars and detailing, and we're here ripping cars apart in their garage. It just, I don't know, it didn't seem to be the best fit for us or for them. So we started looking around, and this one was empty for 8 months.
Yeah, the shop right across from it.
Yeah, basically right across from it. And after 8 months of hounding the owner, finally got a hold of me, let us move in, and we decided like, sweet, we have our own space now. I mean, it's got enough for 5 cars, maybe 6 cars, if you position them right. And that's kind of where we got so far is, finally on our own. I mean,
when you gave me the tour the first time, it was pretty empty. And then, you guys have definitely did a lot of work to it since in a short period of time. Yeah.
And I guess to go more in detail about ourselves, I mean, my day trade is an industrial electrician. So I had to rewire the shop because the electrical wasn't working. And then Tanner, I mean, if you want to talk about yourself.
Yeah, say something.
I guess I'm an industrial mechanic by trade. I just like taking shit apart, putting it together, fixing stuff. So I've always been into cars since I was littler than I am now. But yeah, I don't know. I like
you without facial hair, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It's same height, no facial hair. But I don't know. I just started into cars. No one in my family's into cars. I had no friends that were into cars. It was just kind of me taking shit apart on my own cars and putting it back together. And I always wanted cars like GTR. Like I started with a Scion TC that I beat the shit out of, killed that. It was loud as fuck.
Yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah.
You hear that thing about 2 miles away.
Oh yeah, it was very loud, very obnoxious.
Annoying.
But blew that up, sold it, got a Focus ST. It was at least turbo, sounded better, nicer to drive. And then bought an '08 GT500. Got to race that a bit. It's the only car I've gotten to race Berto in.
Yeah.
Back before he was boosted. That was fun.
That was also loud as fuck.
Yeah, that was very loud for a while.
That thing was.
Yeah.
Jeez, it sounded good under Watt.
Yeah.
He's got a thing for loud cars.
Yeah.
Yes. And this car's gonna be no different. Thinking about going hood dump or just straight out the bottom, and
You gotta run an exhaust.
these
You gotta run something out the back.
RB26s sound so good, just hood dumps.
Just hood dumps.
It's really not too bad because they're a pretty low displacement motor. It's really not as bad as like supercharged V8
Yeah.
being open dump. That's very obnoxious.
But Mustangs have that when they cold start.
They're
They
really
bark
bad.
for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
His
his
neighbors did not like me. Yeah, they did not like me at all. Leaving his house at 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
with that
Yeah.
My second apartment, there's an older lady, and he left at like midnight. Start up and can you shut down? I'm calling the cops. Like he's leaving. You know, I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah, just vibrating windows and
yeah.
shit.
It was really bad. But that's kind of where I got to first start racing something that was actually worth racing.
Yeah. Getting the bug.
Yep, and I ended up having to sell it because I got a new job, fucking pay cut, had to buy a house. So I went 2 years.
Life
or so.
hit ya,
Yeah,
basically.
life happened, and
Yeah,
then
that
COVID
too,
happened too and destroyed that. So I was looking at R35s because they were available and they were cheap then. And then COVID, they went up to 80 grand. That ain't worth it anymore. So I went like 2.5 years without a car at all, just working on stuff, working on other people's cars, and then
Grinding,
found this.
basically.
Yeah, pretty much just getting my wages back up, and found this, bought this, and now I'm building this, and I don't think I'll ever sell it. It's my most favorite car I've ever owned, ever driven. So I've driven plenty of cars, tons of cars that come here, tons of V8s and Evos and whatnot, but none of them are like this car.
Yeah, this one tickles your fancy, huh?
Yes, it does. Very much. I love the sound. I love the way it feels. I fit in the seat because I'm the size of an Asian person. So, like, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever change from this. We'll just be building this forever.
Yeah.
As long as cars are legal.
Yeah. So what'd you pay for it? If you don't mind me asking.
I got it in the middle of COVID when they were 80 grand. I bought it for 40. So this one never made it to the actual market. He was in a car club at the time, and in their group chat, someone just kind of jokingly posted that I'm thinking about selling the GTR. And he talked to him and was like, what GTR? He's like, an R32. It's like, I know somebody. So it never made it to market. I just went and got it.
Nice.
So,
And even by today's standards, I mean, 40 grand.
yeah, 40 is still about what a stock R32 goes for. It's a little high on the current market with it being so close to stock. But back in the middle of COVID,
But with all the aesthetics done too,
Yeah.
I think it's still a good deal.
Yeah. Car
like
looks
it was half the price of all the others. It's like, oh shit, I'm buying it. I don't care. So
yeah, it's one of those where you got to jump on it right away.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't wait.
I
So
made
that
it
somebody
work,
else will get it.
Yep. Back then, I still was barely making enough money to afford it, but I saw the opportunity to own my dream car, and I did it.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes you got to take that leap.
yeah, now
You know?
I'm making enough that I'm actually tossing a bunch of money at it and turning it into what I want. So it's working out.
Yeah. I mean, it's come a long ways too. I mean, even something as simple as the headlight change really changes how your car looks.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, when I first came in here, I was like, man, the car looks great. Like, the wheels grew on me from the first time I saw it. Thought the wheels looked ugly, but now it's like, dude, the whole car just looks so much better now. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of the wheels at all. They're showboy wheels. They're heavy. They're not what I like. I want 15-inch. I want a drag pack. I want lightweight wheels. These are Blitz Techno Speed Z1s.
For sale.
Yeah, they're for sale. If you like show wheels, here you go. I don't want
Plug it.
and come get them. Make me an offer. No, I want welds.
Yeah.
I want beadlocks. I want fast car shit. I don't want.
You know, if you get
T37.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beadlock T37s.
You know, if you get bead locks, you can only run 11s.
That's fine.
All right.
It's fine.
Because everybody that has bead locks around here only runs 11s.
Yeah. They buy the wheels before they have the speed.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it runs like a 14 right now, so
I mean,
I'll fit in.
pushing it. Maybe.
Yeah, pushing it.
So is that a wrap or is that actually paint?
It's a wrap.
Okay.
It's
Well done.
it's probably like a 5-year-old, very well done wrap, and
Very well done.
I love purple, so I'm keeping it for now. Once it gets shitty, that's when another money pit begins of body work and all that stuff. So
I'm sure once you peel that off, that paint underneath ain't gonna look.
Yeah, I have no clue what the
good.
paint looks like underneath. They said it was good. They showed me pictures of it, but pictures are deceiving.
Yep,
So
100%.
once I take the wrap off, I have the intention to sand it, cut it, fix everything, and repaint it. So, but that hopefully will be 3-4 years down the road when I have more money.
Yeah.
So,
So for both of you guys, quick question: what was the first car you guys went 100 miles an hour in?
99 Ford Escort.
That thing went 100 miles an hour.
105.
105. Like fuel cut and like stop or what? No.
Yeah, that was just
it.
I don't even know if I want to answer that. I mean,
Answer it.
yeah, my first car. I'm blessed to have good parents. They gave me a brand new car. But if you saw that car today, I would be ashamed to say what I had. It was can't remember the year. I want to say it was like a 2009 or something, 2010 Hyundai Accent. It was a little hatchback. Yeah, little Hyundai Accent hatchback. Probably like 13-inch wheels and probably all of about 80, 90 horsepower.
Yeah.
But it was lime green. So, I mean, you can get the picture when you see a guy like me driving around blasting techno music in a lime green hatchback. There's a lot of stipulations made.
That dude's living life.
Yeah. But I would race car that around my high school. I mean, 100 miles an hour was something I did quite often, that thing. I was an idiot. I mean, a lot of stupid stuff were done in that car. A lot of stupid
it's always
stuff.
fun.
But not my proudest car to ever own, but it was my first. So
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? It's your first car.
yep.
So, next question. Your first race, who was that against? Or if you remember,
Oh boy.
and was it a dig or was it a roll?
I mean, I think most of us are probably all going to start a race as a roll. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I mean, most time it's going to be when you're having fun with your friends and you just line up next to other and race. I think my first race ever, if I had to guess, I mean, I'm getting old, or I like to think I'm getting old.
Them gray
Probably
hairs.
against a high school friend I had, Justin Ray. I had a high school friend named Justin Ray. And he had a Ford Focus, one of the SVTs or something like that.
Okay.
Those hatchbacks.
Yep.
I had my hatchback, and he had an exhaust, all this stuff. And we raced, and obviously he was faster because mine wasn't anything to be proud of. But that was probably my first race ever. But it was fun.
Yeah, always is.
I don't know. I didn't really race in high school. I didn't have any friends that were into cars or anything like that. So first race was probably in my TC over in Beaver Dam against some random person going down Spring.
Oh, nice. Beaver Dam used to be pretty cool on Spring Street.
Yeah, Beaver Dam used to be fun on Spring Street, and that's probably the first time I ever raced somebody. But I don't know who they were. Obviously, it wasn't fast. It's all old shit boxes with 100 horsepower. We maybe hit 60 all the way down Spring.
Yeah,
so.
went down 4 blocks.
Yep.
Making all that noise.
Yeah, that's about it. That wasn't really anything that got me like, oh, racing is fun either.
Yeah.
It was so slow and it was just for fun, I guess. But
Now you guys are into it.
oh yeah, now it's completely different.
Yeah, because now you guys are
power.
making power now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, future goals of MVP Performance?
That's a tricky question. I think that's a really hard question to answer because obviously, if I had all the money in the world, I would love to get a dyno and start doing some dyno tuning. But considering the cars we're into are all-wheel drive, that's kind of a hard goal to hit. I mean, especially if you start looking at hub dynos, you're looking at 4 figures, or 6 figures. I don't know if I want to push a business because this is something we do for fun. And I would like to run my business where I can always be lenient and helpful to customers. Like, you know what, it was 10 hours, but if you have a hard time paying that bill, let's cut it down in half for you. But the more overhead I take, like this shop and a dyno, the less I can be helpful to the community and the more I have to rely on, hey, I need you to pay this bill. And I don't really want to run a business like that. I like what I do right now. I like the community I'm in. I like the amount of respect we have from our customers. I mean, every time we make any kind of post or anything, they share it. They're great. A lot of good feedback about the caliber of our work. But there's always that thing on the back of the head where every year, you know, EPA and all that stuff gets harder.
Oh, yeah.
The less
down for sure.
ICE engines are out there for cars. It's kind of those things where the future is just volatile for our business. I would like to keep it going, but there's always chances where, you know, it might not be worth doing it anymore, and just start focusing on our own cars, or, you know, start drag racing or something, because, you know, there's
tax write-offs, man.
Yeah, there are tax write-offs, but there's also a lot of headache that goes with it.
Yeah.
You know, having to manage all the taxes and invoices and keeping track on people's bills, because there's a lot of times where we'll take a customer and, you know what, you don't have to pay right now, just make your payments, do whatever you can.
Yep.
And then you're like, who owes me money?
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you make a payment this month? And, you know, like, that's why we haven't blown up as fast as we have either, is we don't focus on the money. We focus on the work we do, the work we output, and the people we work with, and trying to help them out. So, I mean, for a shop that's been around as long as ours now, and only having this kind of a space kind of shows what little income we bring in. I mean,
but it shows growth, though.
Yeah.
You know,
there's definitely growth. Obviously, we focused more on money, we'd be a lot farther in life in the business. But so yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. We've talked about a lot too now is, you know, let's say a 5-year plan or a 10-year roadmap of what we're going to do. Are we still going to be doing this? Because another thing comes into factor for us is,
you guys both have full-time jobs.
Yeah, we still have full-time jobs, 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like we can do a whole bunch. You know, we try to manage our days off, and, you know, we're trying to manage a family and this and school. Because, you know, we were apprentices, so we had to go to school and work and this. But commercial property is at a premium right now. And right now we have a good deal on this, and who knows how long that'll be. And then if something happens where they jack up the rates on this, we got to move out. Where are we going to go? Yeah. You know, it's that. We've looked around, and there aren't any openings around here. We'd have to travel, say, an hour to get to a shop, or look into building something, and that's not commercially zoned. Or there's a lot of factors being in somewhere as densely populated. Well, I wouldn't even say Fond du Lac super densely populated, but, you know, when you have Milwaukee, where you have a lot of industrial areas, there's a lot more chances of having a commercial shop. Whereas somewhere around Fond du Lac, there's not a huge industrial area. So there's not as many opportunities to have a commercially zoned shop. So what is available is all you have.
You know, initial investment to build a shop.
Right.
You know, if you do it, are you going to build something big where you can cut it up and rent it to other people? Right. You know? And
that's one thing we've looked into too, or consider, is getting some land, commercial land, and building ourselves. But we started looking at that right before COVID, and it was somewhat feasible. I mean, you're talking 500,000 or something. Post-COVID, that changed. I mean, you look at 5 acres down the road of commercially zoned property. It's, you know, I guess to people around the Milwaukee area, it's not going to sound super expensive, but for around here, considering our lower wages in the epic cities, $275,000 for 5 acres before development and building and concrete and utilities. That is more than some small fries like us can afford. It's just not really feasible, especially, you know, I like to think that I'm old. You know, I'm only 31, so we're trying to do things.
We're all old technically.
We're trying to do things at a point in our life where, you know, people have taken years to get to that point. And it's just kind of those things, like, if you don't get kind of your foot in the door early, you know, you're going to blow up too late, especially with the way the car future is kind of leaning towards, you know, hopefully hydrogen. But, you know, I think petrol-based internal combustion engines are going to be slower and slower to come out with performance cars. And you got so many shops out there that already have established, you know, say, for example, a very famous shop, Boost in Performance. Everybody knows who they are. They started with DSMs and then Evos. They already established they can start tapping into these new markets. and they already have the shops. You know, for someone like us, we have to try to get our foot in the door and try to get a shop and try to afford these. But they were at a great time where people were racing and these performance cars were coming out. Trying
peak 2000s and shit.
Right. And we're trying to start something up that, you know, there's not a lot of performance. Like, what have you had in the past 2 years or 5 years? We've had a 400Z, the Toyota Supra.
Yeah.
Maybe the GR Corolla.
But do you think the Evo 10s and stuff that are now older are, I won't say cheaper to get, but easier to get for like people in their 20s now?
Yes,
and then mod them and stuff.
Yes and no. I definitely think wages have gone up enough to a point where people are going to start. I mean, it's kind of been up and down where they were super cheap. And that's kind of why we got into Evo 10s. They're basically the new Evo Civic. I mean, they're basically the new Honda Civic, the new DSM. They're very, very common. They're everywhere and they're affordable. So we saw a lot of surge of people buying them. And that's why we decided to delve into the market, because outside of going all the way up north to, like, say, RS Motors, or all the way south to Boost, and there's nowhere really in this area to take on people. So we kind of
live in the middle of like everything.
So we delved into that market head first, and it turned out very well for us. But, you know, what was the question again?
Oh, the future of what MVP you want it to be.
You asked another one. I just can't remember what it was. But in terms of affordability, that's what it was. Affordability of the cars. COVID hit, and things went back up. Things are starting to come down, but now inflation is, you know, kind of a thing where I think we're seeing this up and down of affordability for these cars, that I think Evo 10s are going to be around for a very, very, very long time. But cars older than that, you're going to start seeing what you see like the old Corollas and the old Datsuns have. It's just trying to find parts for it is going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be super tough.
Or very expensive. I think I think that's why shops do it, is you have to push into the markets of the new cars, because that's where the money is. Yeah,
but also car manufacturers are making it a lot tougher to tune.
Oh yeah, locking ECUs.
Yeah, you know, like the new GT500, you still can't tune the trans. Really? That's been out since 2020.
Yeah, because that's like, shared trans with the C8, right? C8. Yeah, I mean, once I think somebody broke ground on the C8. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what holds back those platforms, I think. But you basically need to be a software developer now to really delve into a lot of these things. I think there'll always be a huge market for Japanese cars. They're a lot easier to throw an aftermarket ECU in and enjoy it, but you know,
swaps basically. But then finding a clean shell is going to be tough.
Yeah. So I think by the time we retire, I think there's going to be a lot of different factors out there and that's kind of goes back into saying, like, how long can we stick around? Yeah. You know, how long can we keep doing this without delving into like say a GR Corolla or something? And, you know, like I said, we have full-time jobs. This is just a hobby for us. I mean, it's not like we can afford to, hey, I'm just going to go buy a GR Corolla to test. I don't have that kind of money
exactly. Buy a test mule, figure it all out, and then punt it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to rely on friends and stuff to, like, hey, you have this car. You know, I would love to work with you on this car. You know, I love, and that's
where you can give out the deals.
Yeah, because right now, I think my next market, or our market that we've been delving into right now, and I think is going to be a great leap for us, is we're doing a lot of GTRs. We're doing a lot of Skylines. We're going to start delving in it because obviously the 25 rule. We're seeing more and more imports, and there's not. I can't really think of more than 2 shops around here that might work on RVs. I know. I think one shop I've heard about, I don't know the guy very well, but Critter Performance, I think, is somewhat local. Okay. And I heard he's pretty good with the RVs, but I think that's as far as him. Outside of him, I don't know of a lot of people. So if that's something we could delve into, I think that's going to be our next market, because that's the car that everybody's going to import. I mean, on this property itself, we have a GTR 32, we have a GTR 33 Nismo V-Spec, we have a R34 GTT. We have a lot of Skylines around here, just on this lot itself that, you know, we're hoping to get our hands into. I mean, we're throwing a Haltech in this one. We're throwing a Haltech in the R33. The R34, we would like to try to get our hands on and start doing some stuff on there too. But I think that's where our future lies right now.
Is it a straight 6?
Straight sixes, yeah. I mean, for myself, I hinted at want to chase a different platform, and I think for myself personally, I want to go with the superior motor, and I want to start pursuing a 2JZ. Because I mean, you always
Isn't
get
that the
that
battle between the two?
Oh yeah, and we've always, it's funny because we're business partners, but we always have the age old arguments of 2J versus RB, Chevy versus Ford. And we're such complete opposite spectrums on both those arguments. I'm Chevy, 2J, 4G63. I like strong, reliable engines, and he likes garbage. So
straight trash.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you put that in there.
Engines. Okay, the limiting factor on these is you start pushing over 800, you're going through a transmission almost every season if you mess up. But I think for myself, I want to start getting into the 2JZ market. That's obviously a very saturated market.
Yeah,
but if we can get some under our belt, we can open a little more customers. I also have a Turbo S2000 that we've been tinkering with. Maybe start getting into some of those. I think what would be really cool to get into, which I doubt ourselves or anybody else around here has money for, is rotaries. There's nothing rotary around here, but that's a problem too. Like there's not a lot of rotary shops around here because there's not a lot of rotary cars.
Yeah, everybody's afraid of them because
Yep.
They blow up. They sound good.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way they sound and everything. I mean, we go to almost all the big events. We go to say TX2K. FL2K, or sorry, we haven't been to FL2K. World Cup Finals.
Yeah, I was going to say World Cup.
World Cup Finals is our biggest event that we go to. And, we have good friends that we've met through there, basically a family now, and like going there and getting to know Coleman really well. That guy's fucking animal on the track. I mean, they're ripping apart stuff on the fucking pits, trying to get, it's just really cool to see the atmosphere. And I think
that's cool and see someone from Wisconsin going that fast.
Yeah.
Fast 10.
Yeah.
You see that banger 32 car banger class they got going on in GLD?
Yep.
August 10th.
Yeah.
We come back from our vacation on the 10th. We're going on a cruise, and I'm like, God, I hope I can make it because I want to be there to see all that.
Yeah, we want to go. I'd really like to make that event simply because it's all of the world famous stick cars that we see all over the country, just right here in our backyard.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Yeah. It'd be really nice to go see him race there. I'd love to see Coleman race at his own track again.
Give me 1 second. Yep. I kept looking over it. Hopefully it's not like super wet. We're doing all right. Sweet. Maybe I can.
You bring it inside a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, there we go.
We can always close the garage door too if that helps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Cool. My ass is hurting.
We'll leave that in. Huh?
So my ass is getting sore.
Yeah, dude, we've been talking for about an hour.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Once you start going.
Yeah, you really don't know how long.
I ramble too, so.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing wrong with rambling. It's just one of those things. But yeah, it's cool that stick shift battle is going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, and every time we go to any of the events like TX2K, World Cup, I mean, that is probably by far the most popular class. And so I think we're going to see a quick resurgence. If we see it at GLD, I think it's going to bring a lot of attention. I think a lot of attention to that track too. Yeah. Because what I'm very curious about is, Coleman, he's used to GLD. He's used to, track that's not professionally prepped and everything. So I'm curious to see how the other people do well.
I'm sure they're going to prep it. I'm sure they're going to.
We'll see. I don't know if they have the equipment.
GLD? Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Is there a no prep track? I don't know if they have the equipment to prep there unless they're going to ship them up from other tracks.
Well, they have Sticky Thursday and it's prep. If you do a track rental, they prep it. Yeah. Because when I got invited to race that little Barbie car, it was a track rental. They prepped it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know they prepped.
Yeah. Okay. It was sticky, but I'm pretty sure they probably didn't,
Yeah, it's not like the professional. It's not like WIR or WIR. It's not like Maryland. It's not like TX2K.
Yeah.
They don't have tractors going
your
up and
feet
down
are sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. We've gone to some tracks before, and we've seen either at World Cup and TX, or actually not World Cup, at TX2K, they invite people to walk the track, and the level of track prep at some of these is insane. I mean, you see people losing their shoes.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a good time, but I'm excited to see what all stick racers actually show up. It's going to be a lot.
Seems like you almost got the whole field filled up.
Yeah.
It's like, geez.
So, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Especially since it's right in our own backyard.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing.
Mhm.
It's kind of the reason why I wanted to try to start this podcast. I wish I would have started it earlier, to tell you the truth. But it's like, there's so many fast cars here, you know.
Yeah, and I think Wisconsin's one of those weird states that, I mean, we have so many people. And, like, you know, you go to, you start looking at the roster of some of these events, like, oh, Wisconsin. You got Jamie DeVilla with his Civic. You got Coleman with his, you know, S10. I mean, you have
Peterson.
Brian Pedersen.
Yeah, with his
vet. I mean, there's so many awesome.
Brian Johnson with his Civic.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so many great contenders all from this state. And there's dedication. I mean, it's awesome seeing that people like that and watching them in the pits of the events and racing is what drives me to my bucket list item is to qualify. I don't even care about winning. I just want to qualify to be a World Cup. And I think that's my driving goal for my next platform is trying to find a car that I can meet the rules of, you know, say Mean Street even, like just something as simple as that. Mean Street. And
what's Mean Street?
So it's one of the classes they have at World Cup. I believe it's 8 seconds. No, I could be off on that. I think it's actually
7.5.
Yeah. I can't remember the exact, but there's a lot of rules where, you know, you can't really have any firewall modifications to fit bigger motors. You have to remain steel quarters and stuff. There's a lot of rules because, I mean, if it was me, I would love to have like a Toyota Starlet or like a Datsun 1200 Sunny with a 2J in it. That would be awesome. But, you know, if everybody could do that, it would be a really hard playing field because you modify the firewall, throw whatever you want in it, and you have a lightweight car, it's not going to be very fair.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rules for a reason, and it keeps the level playing field to a certain extent. And trying to find something that I'm going to enjoy to put in there is you know, kind of a hurdle in itself because I bought an S2000 to 2J swap to build for that because it has to be an import motor and an import body or a domestic motor. You can't have
it mixed.
Yeah, because I mean, a turbo LS of the S2000. That's, you know, and there's a lot of badass people out there.
Is,
you know, that are doing that. And
stock wheelbase, is that one of the rules?
Yep.
Can't modify it or whatever.
No. So there's a lot of rules to it, and I would love to try to just compete at even one of the lower classes.
I mean, the rules even go so far as to say that you have to have like straight bolt-in suspension. You can't make custom.
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah,
so stock style, or whatever they say.
You can't just throw a 4-link into the S2000.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's a bolt-in.
Unless it bolts in.
Yep.
You can't weld.
Nope. You can't cut it. You can't. I think you can tub for some of the classes, but for like tubs. Mean Street, you can't. You can't just go straight tub, big tire, 4-link. You can't do any of that. Yep. So the rules are very in depth for some of these classes.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes it tighter because, you know,
it makes it more
somebody builds a Fox body.
Yep. Yeah, it'd just be Fox body everything. 2J everything. It'd all be the same.
Yeah.
There's turbo restrictions depending on how many cylinders you have, what style drivetrain you have, whether that's rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, front wheel drive. I mean, and they will measure your turbo. You have to have diapers or engine fans or both. It's just such a cool,
or a massive catch can in the back.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that, like, to me, that's appealing. Like, street racing when we were young, it was fun, but at a certain point, like, I've already raced all these people, and it's fun. And do I really want to keep beating up on my car to beat someone that I know I'm going to beat?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I got for a while. It was like, and that's when I started going to the track, and then I was like, dude, this is fun. It's so self-competitive. At least locally, and it's so much fun. That's when I started pushing you. I was like, dude, let's go to the track.
Yeah, because I was always like, nah.
Yeah. And so I kept pushing people, let's go to the track. And then
you can see progress at the track. That's the best part. You think your car's fast, and then you run it, and it's like, it's 13?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's so self-competitive. Like, let me get my 60 foot down.
Yeah.
You know, let's see what I can get a mile an hour and see what I can trap. And constantly improving yourself, and then line up against someone, see how you do. I mean, if you want to take it so far, you can even bracket race and really figure out who's the better driver. But I feel
like I should enter that because my car is 11.0 car.
Yeah,
freaking every pass.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
if you can be consistent, bracket racing is awesome. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hate against every kind of class out there.
Yeah,
and that doesn't. Street racing and car shows don't really intrigue me so much anymore. It's like, I want to have a small race team, you know, even if it's just the two of us. I want to build a car that I can go to the track and just compete, at a semi-professional level. And I mean, we have these quick jacks over here specifically for the track.
Yeah.
You can jack it up out there in the gravel parking lot, do what you need to do. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work for us to get to that point, but ask about my future about cars. That's what I'm after. This was supposed to be that, but what always hung me up on my own personal car is it needs a cage.
Yeah.
And caging something with
safety.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot cleaner shells out there. But I mean, for an original paint, 66,000 mile chassis, I have a hard time taking that extra step to like, hey, let's cut up the dash and throw a cage in it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. And I think I'd rather have something that I don't care about.
Mm-hmm. It's like people that cut up like a super clean Fox body.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you
Yep.
could have found a piece of shit one and then just chopped it up.
That's why realistically, I would love to find a rebuilt title mark for.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be in good shape, but
I'm gonna look at this because now the rain seemed to coming in more. Yeah.
We can lower that door and you can leave it
yeah, you could have left it there and we just lower the door.
I'll lower the door.
That's quieter and I can
There we go.
Yeah, me too.
No, it's a little darker in here.
A little bit.
I think it's just the dark ground. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to what we're saying. What really drives me is that competitive atmosphere. Because my first time going to World Cup, it was absolutely addicting. Watching companies like Faster or a lot of the Honda teams out there just dropping the motors and transmissions and rebuilding them in the parking lot, or not parking lot, but the pits.
Yeah, in the pits.
Tarps laid out. You got transmissions ripped
Honda
apart.
people are different.
Yeah,
well,
and
they're
just
different.
Go, go, go.
Yeah.
And it's just so awesome to see. And that's the kind of atmosphere I want to be in. Those are the kind of people I want to be around. I mean, for example, I'm not trying to dick ride people or anything, but I really
Ride it, man.
I really enjoy watching, simple scenarios. Like we get along with Coleman, I'd say pretty well. Really support him and his team, and they're awesome people. But, when Sean had, or I probably don't know who he is, but he has a white Corvette that he races there.
Betty White.
Yep, Betty White. And just seeing him pull up and like, you know what, I'm on 5 cylinders. I'm going to do this. And Coleman's just like, you know what, I got spark plugs. I'll help you rip this apart. Just the teamwork against other people, with other people, I should say, to help get people down the track. That's
the camaraderie.
That's what really pulled me in, is like just seeing people like, hey, I'll do what I can to help you go. Or anybody got a transmission, they can loan me. Just that kind of atmosphere is what I really want to be a part of.
It's just like when we were at Ohio for Mitsubishi Shootout. We have another friend from Wisconsin who likes to go compete and race. Nolan, he needed was it a cam angle sensor?
Yeah, it was either that or throttle position sensor.
Throttle position sensor. And we went over to Rafe, one of the I think they are the quickest and fastest 2 Evos, Wild and Rafe, and they sold him a sensor right then and there.
Like, hey, you have one of these? Like, no, it was over his truck, and sure as shit, he's got one. He's like, yeah, I got it.
Nice.
Brought it over to Nolan. He can keep racing,
Is one of the biggest Evo teams in the country, and we just went over there. It's like, do you have it? Yeah. And bring it over there, put it in the other car, and he got to keep racing. So it's a different atmosphere, like at these, and that's even a smaller event. Like they were the biggest, if not the second biggest team on the property. And this is just a dude racing his 10-second car from Wisconsin. So
and they were willing to help him out.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, that's my favorite part about professional. Well, not professional, I wouldn't say, but
the higher tier racing. Yeah. Because if you do the whole street thing, everybody's just kind of out for themselves. Everybody's kind of BSing what they got. It's just kind of weird now.
Yeah.
Nobody's just doing it for fun.
No.
Everybody wants to do it to try to clown the next guy, it seems like. But
and I think that reflects, like I said, our business model is I want to help people. I want to do this because someone, like we have an Evo 10 out there right now. Unfortunate circumstance, he let it sit for 2 years. And the inside of the engine oil pan, the top of the combustion chambers cylinder walls are rusting. And it's like, dude, you're in for a lot of work here. Don't worry about it. Get your engine sent out. Don't worry about paying us right now. We'll minimize what we can. Like, and that's the helping each other and helping customers is the same thing I see at the track, and it's kind of what I want to be a part of.
It's good. That's good. So when you guys were growing up, What was like your guys' dream car? That one right there?
Yeah, I already got it. Well, outside, okay, technically the 34, but I can't afford 34s.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not owning a GTT. I don't want an RB25 rear wheel drive. I want a GTR. So, I found one. I got one. Back when I was 18, when they were first legal,
Yeah.
the banks wouldn't let an 18-year-old kid buy a 25-year-old car.
Yeah.
So instead of spending 12 to 15 back then, I'm spending 40 now. But yeah,
It is what it is, right?
Yeah,
You got it.
I got it, and I absolutely love it. So outside of that, it's just Ford stuff, GT500s, GT350s. But
Yeah, I totally forgot you're into the Fords.
Yep, I absolutely love the GT350R. I think that's the only other car I would ever consider trading this thing for is a 350R.
Yeah.
But even that, I'd rather have this.
One of those drove past my house after Automotion. I don't know if it was an R, but it was a 350, but it had the R wing on it. And it was
red?
had a centrifugal on it. You could just hear it. Just whoosh. I was like, nice. And then some pink WRX came in behind it. And I was like,
Eh. 350, yes. WRX, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the 350s, the Voodoo motors, they're incredible. They can make some crazy power with superchargers, and that's with a supercharger you can make damn near 850 to the wheels on a stock block, and
they rev to the moon.
Yeah, 8,000 plus 8,500 RPM on a supercharger. That's pretty fucking nuts for a stock motor. But at the same time, the new Coyotes are just as insane. They're so boost happy. The transmissions can go insanely fast, even though they're auto. But auto's faster. So.
Yeah, if you want to go fast, you got to go auto.
Yeah.
If you want to have fun, you just
And if you got
quicker.
the money, Coyotes are insane now.
Yeah,
but
they definitely proved themselves.
Yeah,
F-150s. Everybody wants an F-150.
Oh god, the short cab, short bed.
Yeah,
I'd love a 9-second fucking work truck. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
but
every time we go to Texas, don't underestimate the trucks.
Don't underestimate the trucks in Texas. Don't underestimate them here either. We have 9-second trucks here, so it's no different.
I've gotten beat by a truck at the track.
You've been beat by a couple trucks at the track.
Yep.
You got beat by a diesel too.
Dude, I got beat by a diesel. This guy, it was his pulling truck. He didn't do anything to it. Didn't change anything. He just makes a pass. He lets off and then is on the brakes. He runs like a 9-something at 100 miles an hour. I'm still in it, all the way in it. And it's like, dude, like, what the hell? He's like,
trucks and like,
I'm coming.
I don't care about diesel. Like, I love them for work, but fucking hell, they can move with the right modifications. They can fucking move too. So
all that weight.
Yeah.
All that weight.
Pounds. Quite a bit.
It's crazy watching them leave though, because it looks like they're gonna break.
Oh yeah.
When they leave,
rip the front end out of them.
Yeah, it's just like that's so violent. You trust that every time, you know.
Diesels are crazy too. That'd be a cool market to be in, but that's another money market, especially the older diesels with high pressure pumps and shit like that. The old mechanical pumps. But
the EPA is the one that kind of
they've
really fucked the diesel people.
Tried to fuck that over. Luckily, the EPA kind of leaves us alone up here for now. Like other states, you'll get fucked over in every single way. But at least up here in Wisconsin, we're pretty well left alone by a lot of the big government bullshit. So,
I guess it depends on what county you live in too, because there are counties that are emission counties.
That too.
Luckily, we don't live in one.
Yeah, luckily.
You know.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, it's super nice because it's like we don't have to go in for an inspection. You just pay for your sticker and away you go. You ain't got to worry about that. Yeah, which is nice. Unless we all get hobbyist plates.
Most of our cars are about that age. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, I came from California where we had emissions and that. Oh man, when I heard there wasn't any here, that was.
I blame you for all that. Now you come over here, you brought all that California stuff.
Yeah. You know, a lot of toxicity.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in regards to my favorite car, I mean, I think it's similar as a lot of JDM fanboys. Toyota Supra. I mean, that's kind of what I want to get next. Is my goal is a Mark IV. So I'm not really original in any way. I think everybody's loved Supras. I think a lot of people saw it in Fast and Furious, and then obviously they skyrocketed price. But outside of that, I've owned my other dream car, 4 of them now. I had DSMs, and I was like, I want the big brother. I want the Evo. Never thought I'd have one. I've had 4 of them, and ready to move on from those.
Yeah.
So,
Gonna keep it?
I want to try.
Yeah.
But definitely not as a race car anymore. I want something that's going to be more robust. And you can't beat the robustness of, say, like a 9-inch rear or 8.8, you know, Super 8.8 even now for the IRS, T56 Magnum, and more cylinders to spread the horsepower across.
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to a lot is horsepower per cylinder, you know.
So would the Supra be the race car that you would want to compete with? Or is that one going to be just like a fast street car?
I mean, obviously at first it's going to be a fast car or fast street car for a while. I don't know. It all depends on what Supra I get. If I get a clean one, probably won't turn into a race car. If I get one that's got a rebuilt title, then it'll probably cage it out and do whatever. Because since going to World Cup, I've really grown fond of old Toyotas and old Datsuns. Like the Toyota Starlets, I'd love to have one of those. Finding one of those is another story, but or the 1200 Sunnies, really like those. So lightweight. I mean, you're talking 1,800 pounds.
Jeez.
You know, they're
with lead in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get it up to that weight.
Yeah. Really?
So throwing a motor in there, and you get to save yourself a lot of headaches when you go super light. You don't need as much horsepower, so you don't need to stress out your components as much.
That is true.
So you're gonna, if you were to somehow manage to fit a T56 in that thing would probably be near bulletproof.
You just got to work on suspension then, basically.
Yeah, dial it in and leave the line. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Perfect. Well, I think we should end it there.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Awesome. Thanks you guys for watching. See you on the next one.
Sweet.